Welcome to Empyrion Galactic Survival. Version 1.8 is finally here on Stable Branch. It has been completely reworked, especially at the beginning of the game. All of the 4 starting planets have been reworked. There is a new tutorial, there is more information in the PDA, new content, and I'm gonna go through it in this video. This is the temperate starting planet. It's very nice, as you can see, and it looks a little bit different. We have different trees, different stuff, different bearings. The planet itself, it's breathable. No radiation, the temperature is okay, and the gravity too. There's also a new thing called the carbon deposit, which is basically carbon substrate. We can also find it in the surface. And it looks like this, the carbon bearing. So if we harvest it, it gives carbon substrate. We can still craft it in the portable constructor, but it only takes stone now. And stone is a little bit different on its planet too. I have a big rock with 1000 hit points. But there's also a smaller rock with also 1000 hit points, and this bigger one also 1000 hit points. There's a carbon bearing. What about this one right here? 1000 hit points. And this one? Also 1000 hit points. The hot dogs look a little bit bigger. They just stick out of the ground. They're very easy to notice. This is the new iron bearing. It still looks bluish, still has the same color scheme, but it definitely looks a little bit different. Also the copper and the silicon have a different look. Like this one. This is the copper bearing, and the silicon also looks a little bit different. As I said before, it's still the same color scheme, but they have a little bit of a different look. In this planet, we can actually access the tutorial. It starts right away. On the other 3, we have to manually activate the tutorial. So if we go into the PDA, we have video manuals now that we can see, and we can activate the tutorial here. I just set it off, but we can just continue when the game starts. There's also information about everything else, the factions. Empyrion has been updated too, and there's also a bunch of new things that are pretty cool. For example, the starting missions are different. In all the planets we find this big obelisk, and we also have this little console here. There's a quest system now. We can actually go to NPCs and start a quest, and we can use the PDA to cancel the quest, to activate it, and to actually see what it takes to complete. This thing that I'm holding is the detector. It has a new model, so it looks a little bit different. Not too shabby, still a detector. This is a small planet, the temperate one, and all of the 4 starting planets are small now, which is kinda nice because it allows for faster travel across the planet. There's also another one, which is a little bit harder, which is the snow planet. Which is this one, still snowy. But at least the rocks have different hit points. Unlike the temperate, this one actually has 300 hit points, 1300. But this one, for example, only has 123. There are still carbon bearing nodes. In the planet itself, it's breathable. The temperature is very low, of course, and the gravity is a little bit lower, but still no radiation. The carbon still doesn't have an icon, and we can also find cobalt in this planet. In the PDA, we can still activate the tutorial here, and we can also still access the video manuals. This is very useful for new players, of course. There's also a quest system in this planet. All of the planets have quests. Still on the snow planet, we can find pentaxid and promethium underneath the water. I don't know if this was a thing before, but it definitely is a thing now. And we can still harvest plant protein and alien plasma ZR1. Also in the snow planet we can still find an obelisk, and the story mission is a little bit different. For example, we start off by finding the convoy, which can be a little tricky at the beginning of the game. But instead of Zyrex, there is actually golems here, and they can be quite nasty. Definitely very nasty. The ice golem. Just trying to see if he gives me an illness. It doesn't look like he can hit me. Maybe I'm just way too good for him. Jesus. Okay buddy, right here, can you hit me? Maybe it's because I'm still in god mode, could be the reason, so let's get a little close. What about 2? Okay, you definitely hit me now, no disease though. Okay, so I got something. So now I cured my broken leg, and now I can see the status effects. And as you can see, the bandages only mitigate the illness, they don't actually cure it. Let me just get out of here before they kill me. And this is a new thing. Now we have status effects, and as you can see, it will be cured into an open wound or closed fracture. And this happens for other things. So we're definitely gonna need to carry a lot more things in our inventory or our ship. For example, We're gonna need the bandages to mitigate, but we're still gonna need the first aid kit to actually heal the fracture. As I said before, the snow planet is also still a small planet, which makes it a little bit easier to explore. After this, we also have a desert barren planet, which is this one. It definitely looks desert and barren, so it still has carbon nodes, it still has silicon and hot dogs here, but it also has a few new enemies, like aliens, but I'm gonna show them later on, because in this planet it's not breathable, and there is radiation, the temperature is a little bit more punishing, the gravity is okay, but like the others, it's still a small planet. On this one, of course, we start with light armor, and the pretty cool thing is this one. We can actually remove and put in the light armor without an armor locker. This is one of the changes for 1.8. Like the starting missions on the previous two planets, we also have an obelisk here, so it looks like the Void is gonna have a bigger part in this new version of the game. But as you can see, now we don't have a convoy, we actually have the opportunity ship. I haven't explored the mission itself too much, but just by the look of it, it looks like it's different on every starting planet. What remains the same is the missing icon for the carbon. So we have carbon substrate deposits, but as you see before, we can also find it in the surface. In this planet we also have promethium and neodymium. After this, there's also another planet, which is the alien swamp, which is this one, and it already has a new friend, which is a mosquito right there. It actually gives an effect when you get close to it. Let's see if I can. Hello friend. And we can also loot it. See, he gave me an effect, which is the loud buzzing rumbles in your ears. And I kinda don't... it's like a stunning effect. I can't really move too much, so I'm definitely gonna have to shoot it out. But they actually give something. So this is the alien swamp planet. Let's see if the mosquito just buggers off. They're not that hard to defeat. There he goes. So the stun should be going away any second now. This can be very dangerous, of course, if there are other predators around. So it would be nice if I could find them now. And there it is. So we can get alien thorns out of these mosquitoes. So in this planet, that should be useful to craft some meds. In this planet we can find rocks with just 120 hit points. We can also find plant protein like this. And we can still find the carbon bearings. The planet itself, it's breathable, no radiation, at least in this area. And because there should be some spots with radiation on this alien swamp planet, still small, all of them are. And the gravity is not too bad, and the temperature is a little bit high. In terms of resources, we can find titanium, pentaxid, carbon still doesn't have an icon, and all three basic resources. All of the nodes have a different look, but the color scheme is still the same, and still the same theme continues. For example, you see the obelisk over there. This is the alien swamp planet, and it still has the obelisk as a starting mission. But as you can see, it has a different thing right next to the obelisk, so I figure the story mission could be the same. I haven't explored too much into it, but at least they look different in the beginning. In the alien swamp we can also find eggs, so we do have, this planet is a little bit more challenging, but we do have resources to craft meds and stuff. There's also a few new NPCs, as you see before, there are mosquitoes in this planet, but we can also find some new NPCs in the Aqua planet, which is the temperate one, and the Skylon. Underneath the water, there's a whole new atmosphere. For example, this is the Aqua temperate planet, this one, and underneath the water we can still find ZR1, as I did before. We can still find promethium, plant protein, and should also be some fish around. I just haven't seen one. Let's see if I can find a nice fish. Well, I'm having a hard time finding the fish, but you can follow the link in the description below to actually see the pictures. We can find some fish in deep water in this Aqua planet, where you can also find pentaxid. In Skylon, which is the desert baron, there's also a few new NPCs. Like this weird looking dinosaur. I don't know how he moves around, but it seems like he managed to. Pretty cool. There's also these little friends, the salvage drones. They can be found in these little POIs here, in this Skylon planet. I'm currently in God mode, just to look around. This is the desert baron, the Skylon. And these friends can be harvested. And they seem to be pretty fast. I just want to see what I have inside. Show me your contents. Show me what you got, buddy. Don't run away. Yeah, they can move around with ease, huh? So let's see what you got. Optronics. I'm not sure what to do with them, but that's what we find inside these bodies. The golems are still here. next to abandoned vessel yard and elsewhere too, so this hasn't changed. And apparently the drones also fly around, you know, outside of POIs, which is kind of interesting. At least there's 2 of them here. There are also new POIs, like this one, the collection point. And there's a bunch of new things, changes and fixes that they've done. I encourage you to follow the link in the description below to Empyrion's Steam page and read it all for yourself. There are pictures also of the NPCs, for example the fish that I couldn't find before. And there is another one here in this Skylon planet, which is a gliding overseer. I've seen it before. In this Skylon planet we can also find these big old craters with some nice resources, and this should also give some protection from the... maybe not from the radiation, but maybe from the temperature. And we can find vegetables, eggs and things of that nature, which is pretty cool. All different planets have different challenges, and for example, some of the planets will not have as much base attacks, but they're also gonna have less resources. Other planets might have more resources, but they're gonna have also not as much POIs. So we're gonna have to choose which one we're gonna continue. Basically like it was before, but all the planets have been revamped with new POIs, new locations and new NPCs, and also new looks. As we can read here in the description, so it actually says about the military drones around this planet, for example. Here it's a little bit less punishing. For example, this one, it's no, it says it all. And here it says basically it doesn't have a lot of resources. In terms of the basic ones, we're gonna have to scavenge a bunch in this Skylon planet. There's also the difficulty settings are the same, nothing has changed here, but in terms of the settings themselves, there's a new thing, which is the level of distance. Now we can set it from low all the way to high, and it will render the objects at different distances. So this is a little bit of a short video about 1.8. There's a lot more to explore, especially the quest system, but there's a little bit of an overview of 1.8 has brought. Possibly there's going to be new patches, not possibly, I'm sure there's going to be new patches, but hopefully they won't change too much and will just fix things that could be wrong. So thank you for watching, and until next time.